I've started a bit of a shooty platform type of thing here. I've got a player behavior. It's got a behavior of platformer on it and a solid thing. So if I hit run on this, I've got a left, right, and jump thing going on. Not a very exciting game, but you can see the potential for it. But this is running on my computer, and 2D kind of platforming games like this, very often you want them to run on a phone. My computer's got a keyboard. Phones don't have a keyboard. They have touch. So we want to do something with touch. Let's do stuff with touch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to firstly add a touch object so that there is a touch behavior or touch stuff going on in here. So now in my object types over here, I've got touch. And that means in the event sheet I can add touch things. But I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to add some big things that when I press them, they have certain things happen. So I'm going to add a couple of sprites that are going to be pressy type buttons. So I'm just going to add like a black button that's a bit transparent so it's not over the top of everything. And that's going to go right here. And I'm going to call this button left. And it's going to be what makes it go left. And then let's add another sprite, pretty much exactly the same over here, same fill, kind of over there. I'm going to call it button right. And then in the event sheet, I'm going to add some events, and I've got my touch objects here. A lot of different things we can do, and we'll have to talk a bit about which one's the right ones. There's on tap, on double tap, etc. For what we're doing here, which is kind of controlling a platform behavior, it's like a keyboard behavior. So I'm going to do is touching object. So when it's touching button left, what I'm going to do is my player, what's my player? It's the pinkish object. Under the platform thing, I can simulate the control of pressing left. And then if I Control C, Control V, and I can change that to button right. And I can simulate pressing right. So let's just check that that works, shall we? Now I can check that it works with the mouse, but I also want to check that it really works on the phone. So a good thing to do is to use the developer tools. So if I press F12, and then up here I can simulate a phone. So I'm simulating iPhone X because I'm, rich. And I'm going to simulate running in landscape, and now I've got, this is my big fat finger pressing things, and you can see when I do my pressing on those things, I go left and right, and because I've made them transparent, they could be completely transparent, they could be invisible if you want to. So that's touch started. And then next thing I was going to do, I was going to have a shooting thing going on. So I've made a bullet. It's got a bullet behavior, goes straight up when you like fire. And I'm going to have this is going to be my button shoot, which I've already made here, but I haven't done anything to it. And the reason I wanted to do this was just to point out that it's not always exactly the same. Because if I do touch is touching objects just the same as I did before, and when I'm touching button shoot, then the player is going to spawn another object, which is clearly going to be a bullet. And if I hit run on that, I should have kept it in other view, but as I press now, look at what's going on. That's not what I wanted at all, is it? You can see it's just spawning as long as I'm holding down this button, because this is in the game loop, so it's doing everything that's here 60 times a second, so it's actually spawning 60 bullets per second. Now that might be what you want, but quite probably it isn't for a good game. So instead of is touching button shoot, I'm going to go back and I'm going to choose on tap object. And when I tap button shoot, it's going to do that. So let's do this fully in the developer tools, F12. And it's gone straight to this. When I tap this button, yes, I get a shooty shoot. So that's just kind of introducing the concept of touch and how you can make a game using touch.